Hi, I'm Garrick DeMeyer from Royal Constrictor Designs. I've got another video for you. This is part 2 of my clowns. So I'm going to show you some different clown combos, mostly adults and breeders. So let's just get right into it. This first one here is an adult breeder Mojave Clown. I believe that she's gravid. She just stopped eating pretty recently. I don't ultrasound here, so I don't really know how big her follicles are or anything. But I haven't really had the need to ultrasound. I know a lot of breeders do, and it is helpful to know how soon the female is going to lay, or how big her follicles are, when to get the male in there. But I usually only pair up one male to an average of 3 or 4 females. So I just try to make sure that each male breeds a female at least once a month. And if she's gonna lay, she's gonna lay, and if she's not, she's not. Knowing how big her follicles are doesn't really help her to lay. You know, she's not any more likely to lay if you ultrasound or if you don't. So I just don't use it. Ultrasounding would be great if you have one particular male, maybe a really valuable male that you want to breed to as many different females as possible. Then I could see ultrasounding being helpful, but I mean, I have an ultrasound machine here, and honestly, I haven't even turned it on in probably 4 or 5 years. I just don't need it. I can usually tell pretty well how far along a female is just by looking at her. I don't really need to have an ultrasound to let me know exactly how many millimeters her follicles are. Although I don't have a problem with people using them, they are very helpful. It doesn't really, it's not really anything that I need to use here. So that's an adult breeder female Mojave Clown. I wish she would come out a little bit so you could see her being very ball python like right now. This next one here, this is a Jigsaw Clown. This was, I believe, a world's first when I produced him many years ago. I think that was in 2013 or 2014. So that is Mojave Pinstripe Clown. He's gone on to father quite a few clutches. I produced some with pastel in it, and honestly I like this version better. Without the pastel, you can see the pattern a bit more. If you add pastel into it, it kind of washes out the pattern, so you have mostly a patternless ball python. And so in that case, I kind of wonder, like, what's the point of having clown in there if you're just going to have a pretty much patternless snake? So I like this one a lot, and I want to try to get another gene in there to maybe keep the contrast even a little bit sharper. Yellow belly and leopard would probably be the two, maybe spot nose. Those would be, I think, 3 good morphs to add into that. So we'll see what the future holds with that one. Okay, this next one, this is an Enchi Spider Clown. She has a very reduced pattern compared to most spider clowns. Spider clowns are pretty reduced anyway, but the Enchi Spider Clown basically just has that stripe down her back, and that is about it. If I can get her to sit still. She also has a little bit brighter colors along her sides than a typical spider clown does. Spider clowns are actually really nice looking. You have to like the really reduced clown pattern to appreciate a spider clown. But yeah, I mean, if you like that, really thin stripe down the back, spider clowns are pretty awesome. And I'd like to add in other genes into this too. I'd like to see what yellow belly does to it. I'm actually breeding a banana calico yellow belly clown or hat clown to a couple of spider and bumblebee clown females. So hopefully we'll see some cool things coming out of that. Okay, the next one I have to show you. This is a Pewter Clown. It's a black pastel clown. And that's a breeder male of mine. I've actually just gotten a few clutches from him recently. I actually had a couple hatch. Hopefully I'll be showing those in some hatchling videos coming up here. I think my showing the breeder videos is going to be coming to an end fairly soon, because I've got a lot of eggs incubating and a lot of cool stuff hatching right now. So as soon as I can get enough interesting hatchlings to make a video, I'll make another one. I'm going to do a couple more of these breeder videos too. I've got some more clown stuff I want to show in addition to what I have here. So yeah, the pastel kind of washes out the pattern a bit, but you can definitely tell it's obviously not a regular pastel clown. It's very dark. I think black pastel has a huge future with clowns. I'm working on a bunch of different combos with it. Obviously the Pompeii has black pastel in it, so that's one major reason to add black pastel into your clown collection. So hopefully I'll have some available this year. I believe I've got some pewter lesser clowns that just hatched, and some other some black pastel het clowns and things like that too. So should have a lot of cool things with the black pastel clowns, and they're mostly coming from this guy right here. Okay, this next girl here is a pastel lesser clown. She's a breeder female, and I can't remember how many clutches she's produced so far. I think she's only about 4 years old. So I think she's probably just laid one clutch last year. Let's see if I can get her to stretch out a little bit here so you can see her a little better. So you can still see the clown pattern pretty well. The lesser in it does kind of fade the pattern a little bit. And again, this I think is, for me, mostly a stepping stone morph. Like, you have to figure out what you need to add into this to make it even better. That's the way I always think of every morph that I have, is always a stepping stone into making a better version of it. So I'm working on, adding leopard and other different things into this, calico and yellow belly and things like that. So I think there's a lot that we can do with this one yet. It's pretty cool in its own right too, but I think there's definitely ways to improve this particular morph. It's all about raising the bar every year. Just got to figure out a way to make these morphs look better and better every year. Okay, and this one is an Enchi butter clown. You can see it's got a very reduced pattern compared to the pastel Enchi clown. And I've used him to make some really cool snakes. I'm going to show you one of his sons in just a second. As soon as I can kind of get him reeled back in here. This is one of his sons. This is a super Enchi butter clown. You can see the color's a little bit more dramatic. Obviously the snake is bigger and older, so this one will probably fade a little bit as it gets older. But look at that head pattern on that, reduced head pattern, just reduced pattern overall. A little bit more yellows in it, just better color overall. So this guy hatched in 2018. And he's actually for sale on my website right now. I decided that I didn't really need a super Enchi butter clown because I've already got him, and I don't want Enchi to come on every clown that I have. So obviously this one, everything that he fathers will have Enchi in it. So that's the super Enchi butter clown, and this is the Enchi butter clown. Not sitting still for us very well. I'm gonna put this super away. Okay, the next one I have here This is a killer clown. And she is a proven breeder. She hatched in 2014. I believe she's given me 2 clutches so far. She took 2018 off, but she laid in 2017 and 2019. So she just actually laid a clutch not too long ago. She's a little bit smaller. And this is one of those ball pythons that she's a little bit quirky as far as her feeding. Right now, to regain her body weight after laying, she's eating rats really well, but that'll stop in probably a month, maybe 2 months at the most, and then she'll go back to eating mice. So this is technically, it's a mouser, one that prefers mice, and I don't have too much trouble keeping her body weight up and keeping her producing. It's mostly just a matter of getting enough mice into her. You know, if you feed her 3 mice a week, like 3 jumbo-sized mice a week, that's plenty of calories to get in her to get her body weight back up. Right now she's eating a small rat about once a week, but she should put her weight back on and be ready to breed for next year. She's a small girl overall, though. Probably, if I weighed her right now, she'd probably be 1,100 grams maybe, and even at full weight, she's probably barely 1,500 grams. But she's a good breeder. She gave me, I think it was 6 eggs this year. So, and I believe I bred her to a pastel GHI clown, which I'll probably show in the next video. And I also wanted to say this killer clown probably looks a little nicer than the average killer clown. She's got a little bit brighter yellows. Your killer clowns start off just looking awesome. I couldn't believe it when I hatched my first one years ago. I think it was in 2009 maybe. But they look awesome when they're babies. A lot of them do dull out a bit as they get older. Some are better than others. I would say this is a pretty good example of a pretty nice killer clown. So, but again, this is another one where it's a stepping stone. You know, the killer clown isn't the end goal here. It's, you want to make it look even better and better. And then here's an example of one where there's some pattern improvements to it maybe. I think she might be going into shed. She's a little duller than normal. This is an Enchy killer clown. So you can see the kind of the broken up, reduced pattern, not so much of the side pattern on her. Really wish that she'd stretch out. So this is an adult breeder as well. She's actually about the same size as the regular killer clown. And so yeah, I think this year I bred her to, I think there's a leopard clown. I have to check my records. I get a lot of clutches every year. I think I'm on 158 or 159 clutches for the year so far. Probably won't get that many more. I mean, I won't get that many again this year, that's for sure. I'm actually trying to produce a few less ball pythons and just work on producing the best of the best and not so much of the more average stuff. So I don't know how many more clutches I'm going to get this year, but I'm sure I'll get quite a few yet, including hopefully one from her at some point this year. She has not laid this year yet. So this is the Enchy killer clown, and this is just a regular killer clown. Alright, well that's all I have to show you this week. I'll be back with another clown video, hopefully next week. It's getting a little harder to find time to do videos. I've got a lot of eggs being laid yet. I've got a lot of babies hatching, a lot of labeling, you know, putting babies away and labeling now, trying to get them on the website. At some point I have to sell some of these, so I'm actively trying to get as many on the website as I can. So that involves a lot of taking pictures, cropping pictures down, loading them onto the website, adding in all the data for each animal, the ID number, the hatch date, the sex, the morph, all price and all that. So it's getting to be that time of year again where it's going to be getting a lot more time consuming to do all this. But I'll try to keep up with the videos as much as I can. So I will try to be back with one very soon. And if you'd like to see all the snakes I have available, make sure to check out my website, royalconstrictordesigns.com. I'll be back with another video very soon.